We got Sandrock who says, it seemed to me Barrymore was trying to get non-writers and non-actors to back to work. All I see is SAG using bully and shaming tactics to get her to back down. I don't support bullies. Well, this actually gets us into one of our main topics this morning, Andre. Isn't that correct?
It does indeed, because this super chat, and Sandrock, thank you for the $10, has to do with Drew Barrymore, who was going to bring her talk show back despite the strike. But note that I said that in the past never tense form because it didn't happen. Cultured, can you take us through the story?
Certainly.
What happened that Drew Barrymore is not bringing back the talk show anymore?
Well, she had already started a process of taping and getting things together, and she was, as was accurately put in the super chat, shamed into stopping it because of the writer's strike. This would have allowed the people that work on her staff and the other people that were there to participate in show tapings and things like that. Talk shows could be argued that you don't really need a writer for. In fact, it was the same argument we had about, Bill Maher and him restarting his show. But it seems that just in the course of trying to make nice in Hollywood, Drew decided that she was going to pause her show. She's not the only one, though. Jennifer Hudson's show, which was supposed to be premiering, has also been put on hold as well. So people who could be working right now that are below the line employees that are not tied into the Writers Guild or anything else are not being allowed to work as well. And I guess that could be said for anybody that's in any other aspect of Hollywood. Now, of course, Script probably has a different perspective than I do, but I think it's just it's rather telling that these are the tactics that are being taken. And what's worse is something that we haven't talked about, and I was going to do a video about, is the fact that they're now trying to pull in the video game motion cap actors and vocal artists that participate in video games. They're trying to get them pulled into the strike right now of their own. So there you are.
I just have to say that to me, that sounds like someone just wants to see the world burn. Because what has that to do with the writer's strike?
Well,
I can explain that for you guys.
Please. That's
Because
what I was going to say. Yeah.
I was in a 3-hour meeting last night discussing this with number one IATSE members, a bunch of them in Ontario, Vancouver, LA, and a few WGA members, and this is really where the mistake happened. Drew Barrymore works on a show that has a syndication deal, which means that she is required by the syndication deal to make a certain amount of episodes per season. In those syndication deals, she is protected under SAG to do that show because it's a different, it's called the network agreement, and that was ratified last year. So she's got another 2.5 years on that where she can go to work without violating any union agreements. The problem is that her publicist and some of the people around her did not realize that because the show does have union members, that they have to actually reach out to the union first and say, hey, this is our situation. This is our deal. We need to coordinate with you guys so that we can either get back to work with the IATSE crew or stand strong in solidarity with the strike. And they never did that. And that's why when Drew made the announcement that she's coming back, it blindsided all the unions. It blindsided even SAG as well, because some of them were wondering like, well, we can't promote. So why are you even doing your daytime talk show? Because that's what a talk show is for, is to promote other things, other television shows, other movies, musicals, what have you. So because Drew Barrymore's team didn't talk to the unions and said, hey, this is our situation. How do we best present this to the rest of the guild so that they know we're not violating anything? She just went ahead and did it. And that was her first mistake. And this is what a lot of the IATSE members do. In fact, 3 of them were from the Drew Barrymore show last night. And they were blindsided by it as well. Because one thing that the experienced IATSE members know is that any bad deal SAG or WGA gets, they will get a worse deal. And they don't want that because they are going into negotiations in the new year. So there's a lot that stand in solidarity. There's a lot of younger ones that I saw get chewed out by the veterans because they just want to go back to work. And the veterans basically meticulously reminding them that if they take a bad deal, we aren't going to have a job in 5 years. And great details to why. Basically saying that if AI takes over, or if studios decide to go in a different direction, everything's going to be digital and it's not going to require us to be on set at all. What are you going to do then? And that's basically the truth of the argument. So what we have here is Drew's trying to do right by her crew, and a lot of the people that I know, and myself included, I see nothing wrong with that. The biggest mistake is that a representation didn't do their due diligence to make sure that this could go over as smoothly as possible. And that's why there was blowback. A lot of blowback from younger union members that had no idea what was going on or no idea about the network contract that Drew is under as host of the show. And as a result, there's a lot of pressure put on her from the unions, from a lot of people that shepherded her career over the last 40 years, some of which has been told that she'd been given some bad advice on how to handle this. And that's put her in that position. Now, unfortunately, Drew was the sacrificial lamb on this thing, and I think wrongfully so, because other people, other talk shows, I believe The Talk is not going back on. I think only The View is retaining, but nobody watches that anyways. And then Bill Maher announced earlier that he is also not returning, and he is trying to frame it in the sense that because he didn't know what was going on with the negotiations and the strike, which I would say he is either willfully ignorant with regards to paying attention to the emails that he'd be getting daily on it, or he's just lying to cover his ass so he doesn't get Drew Barrymore.
That's a nice new verb to get you.
I was going to say he was getting shit all weekend, and he still said, no, I'm going to still do it. It wasn't until after the supposed meeting that you're talking about last night and the newer talks that, or not supposed meeting, it actually happened. But now he's changed his mind all of a sudden. I don't know if it was more for pressure, if that's really the case, because that was going to be my question. Why is this any different? And this is the point that he was making. Why is this one so different than the 2007, 2008 strikes, where all these shows continued on? They just didn't do the written segments.
Oh no,
right?
He's absolutely
that
right.
To me called more attention to the matter than the strike did, because at this point nobody noticing anyway either way. So
well,
as far
the
as
reason
the regular
it's different.
folk.
The reason it's different this time is the fact that for some strange reason, and they didn't have to, those shows stopped. Like they did in 07, 08, the shows didn't stop. Everybody was let in. It's like the writers are going on strike, and we're going to be here next week without our writers. That's what they said. They didn't do that this time, and it threw me for a spin too, because I'm like, well, why not? You can do that. All you have to do is point a camera at the teleprompter, see it blank, and you're good to go. And you just vamp for your 30 minutes or hour long, whatever you're.
Well, and to be fair, the difference between like Maher and Barrymore sure is exactly what you said. She's literally there just to help promote these guys. That's part of her show. That's what feeds her show. Is whatever movie show play is coming out, those people come on, make a cake with her and make a mess on the show, and they have a ha 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 moment. Mm-hmm. End of show. Bill Maher, on the other hand, his show, the meat of the show, is him talking to several people, not just entertainment folk. So he can get away with a little bit more than these other folks can, and I can understand that, because if you look at it, most non-entertainment shows have continued to go on. It's only the stuff that generally has to do with entertainment for the most part, or actual writers from the guild that are not. And that's what it's making me scratch my head. And I agreed with Bill when he said that the other day, is why is this any different? And why are we stopped working? Why are all these other people suffering when you've decided to make these kooky demands? Not you specifically, Script, but the Writers Guild and such. So it made sense to me. Why are these other people suffering for this when you can continue without writers? And as I just said before, not to repeat, but to me, it brings more attention to it when you have a show like that, where they're saying, we're not doing this segment. We're not doing this segment because we have no writers, and they just go right into their normal stuff. And people notice that more than the show not being there.
Yeah, I know. And that's what they should have done. And I never understood why they stopped it, because when it comes to a show like Bill Maher, which is only on HBO, doesn't have any other distribution deals, essentially. The only thing he couldn't do is his opening monologue, any of his sketch bits in between the panel talk, and his new rules. Yeah. Those three things. It's like, that's okay. We're going to notice that.
Honestly, blessing in disguise. Those comedy bits
the bits are bad. Yeah.
Hit or miss, and mostly miss. The opening monologue can be okay, but I actually think the show will be better without it. Cut to the meat. Joe Rogan doesn't have a writer coming up with an opening monologue for the Joe Rogan show. Joe Rogan's not doing comedy bits. He's laughing at memes and videos or weird shit that Jamie finds on the internet for him when requested. Bill Maher is going to find it pretty easy. He's already doing a show with no writers. If you've watched his show, Club Random, he's had some very good interviews recently. You know, I mean, look, I think Bill Maher's an asshole, but he's kind of a necessary asshole. And you know, I actually went to a dinner with him once. It was a bunch of people from Los Angeles that like the sort of mixer thing, and what a prick. I mean, he lived up to reputation. And brought with him an interesting lady who never spoke but was very pretty. So yeah, I think it's the conversation part of the shows that get to that part. But the one thing is that'll be interesting is to see perhaps Bill Maher will finally get an education. I get the sense that Bill Maher needs other people in his ear whispering things that are going on. It's like he comes to these ideas and it's like, yeah, that was 6 or 9 months ago, Bill. Like we were all thinking that 6 or 9 months ago. He seems a bit out of touch and he catches up to certain ideas late, but then when he believes in an idea, he goes hard. And it's really interesting. I mean, he's the only one really on the left criticizing the left.
Yeah,
you know?
I've been giving him credit for that. Especially he's been the one guy to go out and tell a lot of these actors and activists, you guys are the problem and your guys are the only ones who are going to be able to change it. Right? You got to be able the ones to go out there and say, this is not okay, you know, and stuff like that to end the woke and all that other stuff. Yeah.
This clip was taken from Midnight's Edge in the Morning, which streams live every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Midnight's Edge main channel. There you can send in your live questions and comments before clips and full stream replays are uploaded to Midnight's Edge live archives. We are also on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey and Facebook, so smash that like, help share, subscribe and join us.